3 men were thrown into a furnace so hot it killed the soldiers who opened it. But moments later, the king saw something impossible. There were no longer 3 men in the fire. There were 4, more than 2,500 years ago, in the mighty empire of Babylon. King Nebuchadnezzar built a statue of gold so massive it could be seen from miles away. It towered over the plain, like a symbol of his power. Then the king made a decree. Every person in the kingdom, every prince, governor, soldier, and servant must bow down and worship the statue, and anyone who refused would face a terrible punishment. They would be thrown into a blazing furnace of fire. On the appointed day, thousands gathered before the golden idol. Music played, and as the horns and drums echoed across the land, everyone fell to the ground in worship. Everyone, except 3 men. Their names were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were Hebrews who served the king, but they worshipped only one God. While thousands bowed to the idol, they remained standing. Some Babylonian officials saw this and rushed to the king. They said, "Your Majesty, there are 3 men who do not obey your command. They refuse to worship your golden image." The king became furious. He summoned the 3 men and gave them one last chance. He said, "If you do not bow down when the music plays, you will immediately be thrown into the blazing furnace. And what God will be able to rescue you from my hand?" The 3 men answered the king with courage. They said, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able." The 3 men answered the king calmly. They said, "O King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us, and he will rescue us from your hand, O king. But even if he does not, we want you to know this. We will never serve your gods, and we will never worship the image you have set up." The entire crowd fell silent. No one had ever spoken to the king like that before. Nebuchadnezzar's face twisted with rage. King gave a terrifying order. "Heat the furnace 7 times hotter than usual." The flames roared like a raging storm. The heat became so intense that even standing near it was dangerous. Then the king commanded his strongest soldiers to bind the 3 men. Their hands were tied, their robes still on their bodies, and without mercy, they were thrown into the fiery furnace. But the flames were so powerful that the soldiers who pushed them inside were instantly killed by the heat. Everyone expected the 3 men to perish within seconds, but something strange began to happen. Moments later, King Nebuchadnezzar leaned forward from his throne. His eyes widened in disbelief. He turned to his advisors and shouted, "Did we not throw 3 men bound into the fire?" They answered, "Yes, your Majesty." The king said something that terrified everyone present. "Look, I see 4 men walking in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods." Inside the furnace, the 3 men were not burning. Their ropes had fallen away, and they were walking freely among the flames. Beside them stood a mysterious 4th figure, a radiant presence, a divine protector. The flames that killed soldiers could not harm them. The fire that destroyed everything could not burn their clothes. The furnace that should have been their grave became a place of divine protection. Nebuchadnezzar rushed toward the furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out." To the amazement of everyone watching, the 3 men walked out of the fire. The officials gathered around them in shock. They examined their clothes, their hair, their skin. Not a single burn, not even the smell of smoke was on them. Then the king declared, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel and rescued his servants who trusted in him. From that day forward, the king issued a new decree. No one in Babylon was allowed to speak against the God who saved the 3 men from the fire. But one question has echoed throughout history. Who was the 4th man in the fire? Some believe it was an angel sent by God. Others believe it was something far more mysterious. A divine appearance, a heavenly protector, a glimpse of God's presence among his people. Whatever the answer may be, one truth remains clear. The fire was real. The furnace was deadly. But faith proved stronger than flames. And that is why the story of the fiery furnace is remembered to this day. Because sometimes, when the fire seems strongest, you are not walking through it alone.